We tell people that they're valuable and capable, and these are people that have been evaluated and tested and told that they didn't measure up to a norm, that they were less. They've been in voc rehab positions, dragged through volunteer, 2 hours a week saying, yeah, and then just taken off of schedules other places. So when we say, no, you're just as valuable and you're capable, and we put them in a role where they're going to shine, rather than seeing their autism as an annoyance, we say, oh, this is your superpower. Where are you going to fit? Where is your quirk? How do we make the work reinforcing in itself for you, and we make you blossom and shine? So my name is Shelly Henley, and I'm the founder of No Label at the Table. No Label at the Table is a gluten and dairy-free food company whose mission is to employ people on the autistic spectrum. Our little company began when my son was turning 18 and transitioning to adulthood. All of a sudden I got very, very scared for him because I realized a high school diploma wasn't in sight, and I didn't know what was going to happen to him. When he turned 22, I just, their services would have stopped, and he would have been at home all day with me, and no plan for the future. So I got really scared and pulled in his whole team of people and said, okay, let's make a plan, and everyone, and we of course pulled Jacob into that big team and meeting, and I asked Jacob, what do you want your man job to be? What do you want to do as a man? And he said two things. He said he wanted to drive a car, and he wanted to be a chef at a restaurant. We came up with the name No Label at the Table because no label was going to define my son's prognosis or his future, and no label should limit people to eating good food just because something is gluten-free. If you're gluten-free or dairy-free, or if you have any allergies, the first thing you do is you pick it up and you look at the food labels. So that shouldn't limit you from eating good food. Food's a wonderful thing. You get to go through the steps. It's very process-driven. You get something yummy to eat at the end, or you give a gift to somebody and you get incredible praise and just positive feedback. What did you order?
I ordered, well, I overheard you guys talking and said the oatmeal cream pie was the most popular item, so I got that and some bread and coffee, because coffee, you gotta have the coffee to wash it down. I just thought it was a wonderful idea that the lady was giving people a chance to do work, good work, and meaningful, and working and being productive, and that's got to help somehow to people being part, functioning, productive member of society. I think it's awesome.
The day starts early, and it's Jacob has a set plan. Everything is procedure based or procedure driven here. He'll start by setting up his sink, setting up his trash cans. So I couldn't get him through 9th grade English, but he did understand the molecular gastronomy behind creating a loaf of gluten-free bread. Cooking works because it's process-driven, and he thrives in that. And people with autism tend to have hyper low sensitivities, and he has an incredible palate and can balance recipes. He does it here. So it just made sense, and it would have been a complete waste of his potential to be a dishwasher somewhere or bussing tables.
So tell us, what are some of the jobs that you do here at the bakery?
I bake brownies.
Do you also do you make up recipes as well?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of recipes have you made up?
Chocolate pumpkin bread.
That sounds good. What's your favorite thing to bake here?
Favorite thing to bake is brownies.
What's your favorite thing to eat?
Brownies.
Brownies? Fair enough. Pretty good. So do you like working here?
Yeah.
Why do you like working here?
Because I like to bake stuff.
I set out to make Jacob a chef. It was always that we would include everyone. That's always a plus. You want to go put that on the 3-bay?
Absolutely.
We teach you the soft skills so that you can go out into the world and find employment in other places, or you go to college and you say, okay, I've learned these organization skills here. This is how I'm going to approach everything. You've met today someone who's now become my IT guy. Why? Because it was a waste of his potential.
I work in the front of the house, so I do point of sale, I wait on customers. I'm the house's IT guy, so I've been working on reworking the recipe book. I'm going to work with WordPress and add a new tab to the website. It's what I think about it is it's more that first job that'll get me the soft skills that I need for the future jobs.
He's setting up the recipe book. He's now taking on structuring those lists and making sure that all of the processes are in place, that we have all the manipulatives, and that's a fancy word for a printed list of jobs to do in what order, or he's making picture recipes. And so it was a waste of his potential to be scooping cookies and washing dishes. So we've put him in a role where he's going to thrive. It's a pretty fun atmosphere, and it's probably the most rewarding work that I've ever done.
What's your favorite thing to eat here?
I like the muffins.
What kind of muffins are they?
The little blueberry ones. My favorite job is to sweep the floor.
Is that true, Jessica? What's your favorite job on a level 3?
I mean,
Your
my favorite job is to do the market racking.
Yes, to pull the orders, that's right. What's your favorite thing to do on Fridays?
Earning a treat.
Get a treat? Yes. So you go with the muffins then? For your treat?
Oh yes.
We do anything, most of it's sweet special occasions. We're lucky enough that brides have allowed them to make their wedding cakes. It's quite fantastic. Anniversaries, birthdays, everything, special occasion cakes. Only about 20% of people on the spectrum benefit from being on a gluten and dairy-free diet. Jacob's been on a gluten and dairy-free diet since he was maybe 2.5 or 3. We found that it helped him. He had many GI problems. I'm not a doctor. My kid got better when we removed those foods. He was, and so we've maintained that now for going on, it's nearly 20 years that we've maintained that diet. He does better, he feels better, he's not in pain. So, and if you think about if you're in pain and your body's inflamed, you're not going to be able to learn. There's all kinds of things that happen. So it was a really positive thing for us when we removed gluten and dairy from him. I thought when we opened, the bulk of our customers would be people with loved ones with autism or on the spectrum, but in fact most customers are women in their 40s with autoimmune diseases who again want to remove the inflammation from their systems. I hope what No Label at the Table does is that we're a beacon and we say, look at this lady, autism isn't a tragedy. It's not something that should be looked at like as something with sympathy. They can look at our business and say, this lady's tapped into this pool of potential. And any small business owner should think about extending an offer to someone on the spectrum. My employees are honest. Once you hire them and train them in a job, you have an employee for life. Autism isn't a tragedy. It's not something you should look at as sympathy, that more employers should take a chance and say, look at this. This is a bonus. What are some of my favorite things to make? Well, all of it. And people will say, what's your favorite thing to have here? Well, all of it, because they work so hard on it, and I know what's gone behind it, and I know every person that's done a little bit of it. So what's my favorite? All of it. And what's my favorite job of all time? Working here and getting to know these 15 people, these 15 lovely people.